Today I plan on copying this thumbnail from the Food Theorists, which got over 2.6 million views in less than 2 weeks. First things first, let's dissect this thumbnail and see what I have to work with. It looks like there are several different elements here. The juice cup, the soil, the skeleton, the 2 gravestones in the background, the dead tree branches, the graveyard, and the sky. And then we also have the text and that logo in the corner. I went ahead and downloaded stock photos of these elements, so let's get right on it. I'll start with this picture of a graveyard, just so I have a base to work with. I'll open that up on Photoshop and change the hue so it's more purplish. I'll save that image, then open this one so I can grab that soil layer. I'll just cut that out and drag it over to the graveyard layer like so. Then I'll use the clone tool to cover up that green stalk and clean it up with the eraser. Now I'll resize this and move it a bit so it's in the right place. I gotta make it purple as well. That looks good. Let me adjust the graveyard again so it blends better. Perfect. Let me check it against the thumbnail. It needs to be a little hazy, so let's do that. Nope, never mind. Instead, I'll go back to the soil layer and use a soft eraser brush to blend the edges to the background. That's better. Now I'll grab this image of a gravestone, which I think is pretty close, if not the same, as the one in the thumbnail. I'll go ahead and crop that out and drag it over to the graveyard. Let me just resize it a bit. There we go. Let me do a quick toggle here to compare. Looks good. I'll just hide that behind the soil layer like so and change the color to something like this. One more check. Looks like we need some clouds, so I'll add that, move it to the back, and overlay it with the graveyard. Gotta blend that a little better, like so. Now it's time for the skeleton. I'll use the quick select tool to cut it out from the background and just clean that up. Actually, it might be faster to use the pen, so let me try that. I need a different shape for the arms, so we'll leave that out. Oh man, this is tedious. I'll cut it here since we don't really need the legs. Again, don't need the arms. Finally. Let me just isolate that. Then I'll use the magic eraser to get rid of the remaining background. All good. I'll drag that over to the graveyard. The next step is to warp it so it resembles our reference thumbnail. That looks pretty good. The spine is weird and unnaturally long though, so I'll shorten that by using the lasso and the eraser like this. I'll merge those layers and reposition the skeleton so it's in the right spot, which I think is right here. Let's do a quick toggle to make sure. Needs to be bigger and more slanted. Gotta get rid of the spine here as well. A couple of more adjustments. Perfect. Now I'll add the skull and resize that as well. I think that looks good. Let's check. Actually, let me drag the thumbnail over here so I can copy the exact position of the skull. Let's adjust the opacity here so I can see what I'm doing. That looks pretty good. Now I'll fix the rest of the skeleton. Perfect. Just a couple of quick adjustments. Now I'll blend these spots to the background and clean up these edges. Let me blend this better as well. Time to grab the arms, so I'll go back here and just cut out what I need. Let's drag that here and resize it like so and warp like this. Let's do a quick toggle again. Okay, looking good. Time to grab the forearm. I have to say, this is getting pretty exhausting because of all the detail, but let's push through. That looks good. Let's bring that over here. Oh man, how do I do this? Wait, there we go. It's actually not too bad. We can finally move on to the Panera juice cup. Finally, something I can quickly lasso. Let me just resize this like so. Perfect. Time for the fingers. I think we can make quick work of this. Not bad. Now I have to grab the individual fingers. Let's move that here. Align it, resize, and warp. Looks good. I'll just erase the extra bits. Let's move on to the next finger. Drag that over and do the same steps, and again with the other fingers. Now that's done. Let me just rearrange the layers properly. There we go. Thumb isn't quite right, and so let me add a bone there, like that. Let's do the same for the other fingers so they're less floaty and more like they're actually holding the cup. That's better. Could be better still, so I'll add a layer for some shadow. See how good that looks? Now the head doesn't really blend with the rest of the skeleton, so let's see if refining the color works. It needs to be pearlier like this. Almost forgot the other hand, and let me do that real quick. I'll just duplicate these bones and make them fit. That's it. Then I'll adjust the brightness of these bones so they blend with the rest of the skeleton. Another quick toggle. As you can see, the head isn't quite right, so let's warp that into place. That looks pretty good. Just another quick color adjustment here. There we go. Another quick check. Let me fix the head a little more. Better. You know what? The background is too busy, so let me change that to something closer to the one on the reference thumbnail. I'll use the same clouds I used earlier, just gotta fix the color. And move it here. Now I'll add those dead trees like that. We'll blend that in like so and rotate it a bit. Hold on, let me just blend this part. Okay, that's better. I'll add another dead tree, resize it like so, and blend it with the background. Let's do another quick toggle to compare our work so far. Seems like I need another gravestone over here, so I'll duplicate this and move it here, and fix the color. That looks okay, but we need some grass, so I'll use this image again and cut some grass out. I'll bring that over here, fix the color, rotate it a bit, and blend. Then I'll erase the background with the magic eraser. Look how well that blends in. Time for another quick check. Let's add some more gravestones in the background. I'll add that in, and blend. Wonderful! It's looking more and more like the thumbnail. I'll just add a bit of light from behind like this. Let's also clean up those edges. While we're at it, I'll add some details to the ribs. That's so much better. Now I'll make the eye sockets and nose a little darker to match the mouth. Let's add some detail to the other bones as well and clean up these bits. And add some shadow where the bones meet. Looks good. Finally, it's time to add the graphics and text. I'll start with this arrow, change it to white, move it over, rotate, and add a black outline like this. Let's do another toggle to check our progress. Looks like I have to make some small adjustments here with the tree branches. Looks better. Now I'll create a new layer for the text. I'll just type the words, adjust the size and position, move it behind the skull and the juice cup, resize the head a bit so it's not covering the text, fix that up a little, and add the rest of the text. Let's move that here and add a black outline to each word. There we go. The only thing left to do is add this logo, remove the background, and clean up the edges. A few more touch-ups just to really polish it, and that's it. I forgot to add the hand, so here's a super quick video of me doing that. It's really just the same steps as before, and that's pretty much it. That took a lot of work, and we got there in the end. It wasn't really complicated so much as tedious because of all the little details, but it's worth it. The lesson here is don't be afraid to invest a lot of time and effort on your thumbnails. It's your first point of contact with your viewers, and it's what gets them to click on your videos. So do what you have to do to make it look as great as possible. But if you want something a little less complicated yet just as effective, watch this next tutorial.